All right, let's talk about something that could seriously change your work life: business automation. We're going to dive into how you can finally ditch all those boring, repetitive tasks and start focusing on the stuff that really moves the needle. Ready to get your time back? Let's do this.
Okay, so first things first, we have to identify the enemy. And that enemy is the daily grind. You know, that feeling like you're just stuck on a hamster wheel, doing the same manual tasks over and over again. We've all been there, but let's get really specific about what that looks like.
So, I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. Are you still manually copying and pasting stuff from your emails into a spreadsheet? Are you sending out the same follow-up messages one by one? You know, all those little things that seem tiny on their own, but when you add them all up, poof, there goes your day. If you're nodding right now, you're definitely in the right place.
Now that feeling of being completely bogged down, it's not just in your head. It has a real, measurable cost. Let's actually look at how much this busy work is costing you. And fair warning, the numbers might just shock you. So let's just cut to the chase and look at the data. Research shows that the average person wastes 4.5 hours every single day on tasks that could easily be automated. Just let that sink in. 4.5 hours. That's over half a workday. Just gone. To put that into perspective, that's almost 23 hours a week. That is basically an entire extra day every week that you could reclaim. What would you even do with that time? You could build out a new part of your business, learn a new skill, or hey, maybe just log off on time for once. This isn't just a tiny leak in your productivity, it's a massive hole.
So, you're probably wondering, how do we fix this? How do we plug that giant hole? Well, the answer is automation. And the best way to think about it is like hiring the perfect employee, one who works 24/7 and, never complains.
When you get right down to it, business automation is just this: using technology to do all those recurring tasks for you. It's about setting up software to handle the boring stuff, freeing you up to focus on the creative, strategic work that only a human can do, the stuff that actually grows your business.
I love this way of putting it. It really is like hiring a super efficient assistant who never sleeps, never needs a coffee break, and definitely never asks for a raise. See, this isn't about replacing people. It's about empowering people. This digital assistant handles all the tedious stuff, so our brains are free to do what they do best: innovate, create, and connect.
Okay, I get it. You might be thinking, this sounds amazing, but how does it actually work? Is it super complicated? Well, no, actually. It's way more straightforward than you think. We can break it all down into 3 simple pillars. Let's start with pillar number 1, workflow automation. This is probably the most common type you'll run into, and honestly, it's the easiest to wrap your head around. It's all about simple cause and effect. The best way to picture this is like setting up a line of dominoes. You do the work once to line them up, and then a single tap triggers a whole chain reaction. So, for example, someone fills out a contact form on your website. That's the first domino. It instantly triggers the next one. A welcome email is sent out, and the next one. Their info gets added to your CRM. It all just happens, and you didn't have to lift a finger.
Pillar number 2 has a bit of a futuristic-sounding name: Robotic Process Automation, or RPA for short. But don't let the name fool you. The idea behind it is actually pretty simple.
Think of RPA as software bots that you can literally teach to use a computer just like a person would. All that clicking, copying, and pasting you do, like moving data from one system to another or processing a stack of invoices, an RPA bot can do that thousands of times perfectly without ever getting tired or making a single typo. It does the brain-melting stuff for you.
So what happens when a task isn't just repetitive, but it actually needs a little bit of brain power? Well, that brings us to our third and most advanced pillar, AI integration. This is where your digital assistant really gets smart.
So, if workflow automation is the dominoes, and RPA is the super diligent worker, AI is the smart manager overseeing it all. It can actually read an email, understand what it's about, and file it in the right place. It can sift through thousands of customer reviews to spot trends you'd never see on your own. It's basically the intelligence layer that makes your automation truly powerful.
Look, all this theory's great, but let's talk about what this looks like in the real world. Because this is where it gets really exciting, when we see someone go from spending hours on a task to just a few minutes.
Let me tell you about Sarah. She runs an online store. And before she started automating, she was spending 3 hours a day, every single day, manually processing orders, sending out shipping confirmations, updating her inventory, the whole shebang. But after she set up some simple automations, all of that stuff happens on its own. Her daily workload for those tasks dropped from 3 hours down to just 15 minutes of supervision. That's it. And here's the real key to Sarah's story. It's not just about saving time. It's about a complete shift in how she works. She was finally freed from being stuck in the day-to-day operations. Now, she can actually work on her business, focusing on marketing, developing new products, and big-picture strategy. That's the real game changer.
The amazing thing is, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky idea for giant corporations. The tools to do exactly what Sarah did are out there. They're affordable, and they're easier to use than ever. So the question really isn't, how does it work anymore? The question is, what are you going to do with it?
Because at the end of the day, it's not about the tech. It's about what the tech unlocks for you. The software, the bots. They're ready and waiting to take on all the boring, repetitive work. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, what are you going to do with the nearly 23 hours a week you're about to get back?